again, and thanks for watching. This week's topic is suicide. I struggled with suicide years ago, and I just want to share about my experiences and things that I went through and how I got out of my suicide. One thing that I learned is that suicide is a permanent solution to a temporary problem. Whatever you're going through, there is an answer, there is a way out, and there is somebody who can help you. Now, what I did is since I've been through my suicide, I put together a list of things that I struggled with, things that got me so depressed that I was brought to the point of suicide, and things that I feel other people have struggled with that got them that depressed. So I'm going to just throw out the list real quick for you to see.
I know your heart and you mean well. Sometimes you don't care how I feel.
Okay, now that you've seen that list, I just want to go over real quickly the things that I struggled with. Now, when I started going through my depression, I just graduated high school, and by that time I had been a serious Christian for about 3 years. And so I bring that up because a lot of people don't believe or can't believe that when you're a Christian that you really struggle with things. Because they believe that God is real, God is powerful, and God can help you. And that is absolutely true. But what people neglect is that real Christians struggle with real issues, and that's the situation I was in. So when I graduated, I was depressed. I felt like nobody loved me, nobody wanted me around. I felt like an outcast. I felt like I was on the outside looking in. I felt like I was just drifting through time and space. I felt like my life meant nothing. I had nothing to contribute, and people didn't care if I was there. And conversely, people wouldn't care if I wasn't there. So I was just there, just like a blob, just there. And during my depression, I was seriously depressed for about 2 to 3 months. I began to isolate myself from people. I began to think that if they didn't want me around, I was just going to be by myself. I was going to focus on school, I was going to focus on work, and that would be my entire life. If people invited me out to go do something, I said no, I'm too busy, and I just kept playing these games over and over and over again. I wanted people to notice me, but I didn't do anything to get noticed. I didn't talk to anybody, I didn't share with anybody what I was going through. I was just there. So I'm going through this time. I think after about 3 months, I actually began to plan my suicide. I was so depressed that I figured the only way out was to take my own life. And so what I planned to do was I was going to kill myself in front of the people in Sunday school, the people in our college and high school group. It's pretty dramatic, but that was my plan. I wanted to make a big scene. I wanted to make a big statement. I really wanted to teach people a lesson. And my lesson in my head, my depressed, crazy head, is I wanted to show everybody what it was like and what it looked like when you rejected somebody, what it looked like when you didn't include somebody, what it looked like when you treated people badly. And I figured, they're hypocrites. I need to show them that they're a hypocrite. So I made this whole big plan. I figured out where I was going to get the gun. I figured out my whole big speech. I figured out what I was going to put in my suicide note, and I was going to go with it. So I planned this for about another 2 to 3 months, figuring out where I would get everything. So we come up to the Saturday before the Sunday. I decided to do it. And this Saturday, I just made the decision. I'm just going to do it. I'm going to go for it. I have everything I need, and I'm just going to do it. So I woke up the next morning, and when I woke up, there was something in me that I couldn't explain. I wanted to do it, but there was a part of me that was kind of holding me back. And so I began to pray. Nothing really happened, and I decided, because I prayed 10 seconds, right? Nothing happened, so I decided I was just going to do it. So I tried getting up out of bed, but I couldn't. And I don't know if it was because I really didn't want to get out of bed, or it was because God wouldn't let me get up and God wouldn't let me move. So being immobile, I began to pray again. And I asked God for anything. I was like, God, you got to do something here. I need something. And God actually spoke to me in a way that I didn't plan on him. I didn't think it was going to happen this way, but he did it. And he kind of, like, I feel like it was God looking at me and saying, Tom, what are you doing? Like, you are an idiot. You are so focused on yourself. You are so focused on how everybody's hurting you, and how everybody's wronged you, how everybody else has done the wrong thing. So focused on yourself. And I was like, whoa, like I was kind of taken aback. I just didn't expect God to say something like that to me. But he really rebuked me and showed me that I was so obsessed with myself. I felt like God was saying, like, Tom, you ignore what you've done to other people. You ignore the bad things you've said and done, and the stupid things that you've said and done, and you just put that to the side, and you make everybody else out to be the bad guy. You make yourself out to be the sweet, innocent little victim, but you're not. You're just as guilty as everybody else. And so God began to minister these things to me, and really began to speak to me that I'm not innocent. I wasn't the innocent, poor little victim that I'd made myself out to be. So when God began to show this to me, he also began to speak something else that I thought was very powerful. in my own life, I'm not even faithful to myself 100% of the time. There are goals that I've set. There are things I wanted to do for other people that I said I was going to do. And there are things that I just didn't do. And so God was showing me, He's like, Tom, if you can't be 100% faithful to yourself, how do you expect anybody else to be 100% faithful to you all the time? You can't do it to yourself, and you can't do it for other people. Why should you expect other people to do it for you all the time? I was like, okay, God, I get the picture. So I was stunned. I was shocked. I didn't expect God to speak that to me. But God spoke that to me. And as God spoke that to me, afterwards, I told a couple of friends what was going on in my life. I got the prayer and the counseling I needed. And then I got the scripture shared with me. The scriptures now and even years ago that God gave to me. So what I want to do now is just throw up a slide with some of the scriptures that God spoke to me, and I hope that they speak to you too.